Okay, so instead of talking about investing for a moment, let's switch topics. Let's use a different analogy, a different metaphor, and let's pretend like you were a farmer. And as a farmer, obviously in the spring, right, we go out to plant a crop. And the government's going to give us two choices. One is we've got penny seeds, and we're going to buy the packs of seeds for a penny a piece, and then we're going to plant those seeds and fertilize those seeds and water those seeds all summer long. And then in the fall, we're going to have a robust $1 million harvest. Okay? So if the government gave us two choices, would we rather be taxed on the penny seeds or the $1 million harvest? Not a trick question. I think most of us would rather be taxed on the penny seeds, right? What do most people do though? Most people say, no, don't tax me now on the penny seeds. Let me put away my $200, $300, $400 a month into my retirement plan. Don't tax me now on it. Let me wait 20, 25, 30 years till I'm retired and I build up all this money and then tax me then. Well, let's take a look at this. Do we think we're going to be in a higher tax bracket now or in retirement? That's the big question. There's no way to know for sure, but let's just say, for example, that we're in the exact same tax bracket in both instances. Well, what are the four primary ways that we protect our income from taxes at this stage when we're in our income earning years? Number one is interest on our home. That's a easy, legitimate way that most people save money on their income taxes year after year. The second way is dependent children. Now, that's not a very good tax planning strategy, but it is a good, legitimate tax deduction. Number three is contributions to qualified plans. And number four is reasonable business expenses. Okay? Now, in retirement, which of these four tax savings do we have? Number one is we don't usually have any mortgage payments left. And usually in retirement, either our house is totally paid off or it's in the last 10 years of paying it off. So when it's all principal, no interest, we've got very few tax deductions then. Number two, our children are grown and out of the nest. They're not a tax deduction. Number three, we're pulling money out of qualified plans, not putting it into, so there's no tax deduction there. And number four, the idea of being retired is not to be in business anymore, so we don't have any reasonable tax deductions then. So at a time when we are completely dependent on this income to live on, we've got little or no way to shelter our income from taxes. And so we're going to put, in most cases, families put their money away in this vehicle where they don't touch it for 20 to 30 years. And then does anybody know at what age in the United States we have access to this money? We don't really have access without penalty till 59 and a half. And then does anybody know at what age we have our access restricted to it? That is at age 70 and a half. Now, the reality of it is most Americans can't afford to touch their money till about age 65. So they have access to it at 59 and a half, but they don't have enough to retire, so they wait till 65 before they touch it. Then by 70 and a half, they're required to start pulling money out. This is called required minimum distributions. Does anybody know how much the penalty is if we don't take out the right amount of money at age 70 and a half? It's a 50% tax penalty if we don't take it out now. Now, we may not need the money. Our investments may be lower than we need them. We may have inherited some money, but the government's going to require us to begin making distributions at this age. Why? Because they've been waiting this long to tax it. So if we begin to look at simple math, if we're putting away $300 a month here, and let's say we're in a 25% tax bracket, then 25% of $300 is $75. So we're saving $75 a month, or times 12 would be what? Times 4 would be 300. So 900. So we're going to save $75 a month, or $900 a year in taxes is what we're saving by making this investment in a qualified plan. So over the course of, let's say, 30 years times $900 a month, we've saved $27,000 in tax savings. Now, if we build up $1 million at retirement, and in retirement we start taking out, let's say, a distribution of 6% on that $1 million, so we're pulling out $60,000 per year in retirement, and we're in the same 25% tax bracket. Well, 25% of $60,000 is $15,000 a year in taxes we'll spend. So we'll spend more in our first 2 years of retirement on taxes than we saved over 30 years of taxes. And so the question then, would we rather be taxing our penny seeds or our $1 million harvest? Let's pay the taxes today, and let's create a retirement distribution that is tax-free in retirement. Cut.